Have you ever reached the end of the day and wondered where all your time went? You were busy from morning until night, yet somehow the important things remained unfinished. Your goals stayed untouched, your dreams waited another day, your mind felt exhausted, but your life had not moved forward. This is one of the greatest tragedies of modern life. We mistake movement for progress and distraction for purpose. The Stoic philosophers understood something that most people never realize. Time is not stolen by the clock. It is surrendered by the mind. Every unnecessary worry, every meaningless argument, every moment spent seeking approval from others quietly takes away a piece of your life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that life is short, and because it is short, every action should have meaning. Seneca warned that people guard their money carefully, but waste their time carelessly, even though time is infinitely more valuable. Mental strength is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming intentional. It is the ability to choose discipline over comfort, purpose over distraction, and wisdom over impulse. The stronger your mind becomes, the less power the world has to pull you away from what truly matters. Attention is the most valuable resource you possess, even more valuable than time itself. Time passes, whether you use it wisely or not, but attention determines how that time shapes your future. The Stoic philosophers understood that the quality of your life depends largely on where your mind chooses to rest. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself not to let his thoughts wander into pointless worries or the opinions of other people. He knew that every moment spent focusing on things outside his control weakened his ability to act with wisdom and purpose. In today's world, your attention is constantly under attack. Notifications compete for your focus. Endless streams of entertainment demand your eyes, and countless voices try to influence your decisions. Every distraction seems harmless when viewed alone, but together they quietly consume the hours that could have been invested in learning, creating, improving, or building meaningful relationships. A mentally strong person recognizes that attention is not something to be given away freely. It is an investment, and every investment should produce value. The moment you wake up each morning, your attention begins making choices before you even realize it. If your first instinct is to check messages, scroll through social media, or compare yourself to others, you have already allowed the outside world to dictate the direction of your mind. The Stoics would encourage a different approach. They believed the day should begin with intention rather than reaction. Before allowing the world to enter your mind, decide what truly deserves your energy. Ask yourself what actions will make you wiser, stronger, kinder, and more disciplined. When your priorities are clear, distractions lose much of their power because they no longer appear as opportunities but as interruptions. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they can divide their attention endlessly without consequences. They attempt to multitask, jumping from one task to another while convincing themselves they are being productive. In reality, every switch of focus comes with a hidden cost. Your mind needs time to regain momentum, and repeated interruptions slowly weaken your ability to think deeply. The Stoics valued concentration because they understood that excellence requires complete presence. Whether reading a book, having a conversation, working on a project, or simply reflecting in silence, they believed every activity deserved full commitment. A scattered mind rarely produces meaningful results. while a focused mind transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Another important lesson from Stoicism is that your attention should never become trapped by things beyond your control. People waste enormous amounts of mental energy worrying about criticism, unexpected setbacks, or uncertain futures. They replay conversations that cannot be changed and imagine problems that may never happen. Epictetus taught that peace begins when you separate what is within your control from what is not. Your thoughts, choices, habits, and responses belong to you. The actions of others do not. Every minute spent obsessing over external events is a minute taken away from your own growth. Mentally strong individuals accept uncertainty without allowing it to dominate their minds. They redirect their attention toward actions that create progress instead of fears that create paralysis. Attention also shapes your character because whatever you consistently focus on becomes stronger within you. If you constantly search for reasons to complain, your mind becomes skilled at finding problems. If you focus on gratitude, discipline, and opportunity, those qualities gradually become part of your identity. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a garden. Whatever you water will grow. If you feed it with anger, envy, and endless comparison, those emotions will eventually control your behavior. If you nourish it with wisdom, patience, courage, and self-control, your character becomes resilient even during difficult times. Every thought you entertain repeatedly is shaping the person you are becoming. This is why guarding your attention is not merely about increasing productivity. It is about protecting your inner life. Your environment also plays a powerful role in determining where your attention goes. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, the books you read, the content you consume, and the habits you repeat all influence the direction of your thoughts. The Stoics encouraged surrounding yourself with influences that elevate your character rather than weaken it. They understood that discipline becomes easier when your environment supports your values instead of constantly challenging them. You cannot expect your attention to remain focused if you willingly fill your life with endless distractions and negative influences. Building a mentally strong life requires making conscious decisions about what deserves a place in your daily routine. Every day presents thousands of opportunities to lose your attention, but it also offers countless chances to strengthen it. Every time you resist an unnecessary distraction, you train your mind to become more disciplined. Every time you choose meaningful work over instant pleasure, you reinforce your ability to stay focused. Every time you return your attention to what truly matters after your mind begins to wander, you become stronger than you were before. Mental strength is not built through one dramatic decision, but through hundreds of small moments where you choose purpose over distraction, clarity over confusion, and intention over impulse. Those small victories accumulate over time, creating a mind that remains calm under pressure, focused in the face of chaos, and committed to what truly matters regardless of what the world demands. Discipline is the invisible force that separates those who merely dream from those who consistently achieve. It is not built through occasional bursts of motivation or moments of excitement. Instead, it is forged through repeated choices that align your actions with your values, even when those choices are uncomfortable. The Stoic philosophers believed that true freedom comes from mastering yourself, rather than being controlled by your impulses. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every morning he had a duty to rise and fulfill his purpose, regardless of whether he felt like it. He understood that comfort is temporary, but character lasts a lifetime. Mental strength begins the moment you stop asking yourself what you feel like doing and start asking what is right to do. In today's world, people are constantly encouraged to chase convenience, immediate pleasure, and endless entertainment. Every device, advertisement, and notification competes for your attention by promising quick satisfaction. While there is nothing inherently wrong with enjoyment, problems arise when comfort becomes your highest priority. The Stoics recognized that a life built around comfort eventually leads to weakness because the mind becomes unfamiliar with challenge. Discipline, on the other hand, teaches you to embrace temporary discomfort in exchange for lasting growth. Every difficult task you complete, every temptation you resist, and every commitment you honor strengthens your ability to remain steady under pressure. This is why discipline is not a punishment, but a path toward greater confidence and inner stability. One of the greatest misconceptions about discipline is that it requires extraordinary willpower every single day. In reality, the strongest individuals rely less on emotion and more on routine. They create habits that remove unnecessary decisions from their daily lives. The Stoics valued consistency because they understood that repeated actions shape identity. If you choose to exercise once, you have completed a workout. If you exercise consistently, you become a disciplined person. If you study one day, you gain knowledge. If you study every day, you become a lifelong learner. Your identity is formed not by isolated achievements, but by the patterns you repeat. Every action is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming, and discipline ensures that those votes consistently support your highest values. Another essential lesson of Stoicism is learning to act despite discomfort. Many people wait until they feel confident before taking action. They postpone important work until they feel inspired. They delay difficult conversations until they feel ready. Unfortunately, those perfect emotional conditions rarely arrive. The Stoics believed that emotions should not become the leaders of your life. Feelings naturally rise and fall, but principles remain constant. A mentally strong individual understands that courage often comes after action, not before it. The more often you choose discipline instead of waiting for motivation, the more confidence you build in your own ability to overcome resistance. Every small act of self-control proves that you are stronger than your excuses. Discipline also protects you from becoming a prisoner of external circumstances. Life will always present unexpected challenges. There will be days when plans fail, opportunities disappear, and setbacks seem overwhelming. Without discipline, these obstacles can easily destroy your momentum because your progress depends entirely on favorable conditions. The Stoics prepared themselves mentally for adversity because they knew that resilience comes from within rather than from the environment. A disciplined person continues moving forward regardless of temporary obstacles. They adapt without abandoning their purpose. They accept difficulties without surrendering to despair. This ability to remain consistent during uncertain times is one of the clearest signs of true mental strength. The relationship between discipline and self-respect is often overlooked. Every promise you make to yourself carries weight. When you repeatedly break your own commitments, even small ones, your confidence slowly erodes. You begin to doubt your own reliability. On the other hand, every time you keep your word to yourself, you reinforce trust in your own character. Waking up when you planned, finishing the work you committed to, speaking honestly, and practicing self-control all strengthen your belief that you can depend on yourself. This quiet confidence becomes the foundation for facing much larger challenges because you have proven through daily actions that your decisions matter. The Stoics viewed this inner integrity as one of the greatest sources of strength, far more valuable than praise from others or temporary success. Discipline is also closely connected to emotional control. A person who cannot manage anger, fear, impatience, or desire often finds those emotions making decisions on their behalf. The Stoics did not suggest eliminating emotions, but learning to observe them without becoming their servant. When anger appears, discipline prevents reckless words. When fear appears, discipline encourages thoughtful action instead of retreat. When temptation appears, discipline reminds you of your long-term purpose rather than your short-term craving. Every moment of emotional restraint strengthens your character because it proves that your principles are stronger than your impulses. This mastery over yourself creates a calmness that cannot easily be shaken by criticism, failure, or uncertainty. Over time, disciplined actions begin to feel less like sacrifices and more like expressions of who you are. The habits that once required effort gradually become natural. Early mornings become opportunities instead of burdens. Hard work becomes satisfying instead of exhausting. Patience becomes stronger than frustration. Self-control becomes more rewarding than instant gratification. This transformation does not happen overnight, but every disciplined choice moves you one step closer to becoming the person you wish to be. The Stoics believed that greatness is not reserved for a fortunate few, but is available to anyone willing to train the mind through consistent practice. Every day offers new opportunities to strengthen your discipline, and every disciplined decision builds a more resilient character, a clearer mind, and a life directed by wisdom instead of impulse. Today, we're going to explore 7 Stoic rules that can completely change the way you live. These are not complicated theories. They are practical principles that have helped people remain calm, disciplined, and resilient for over 2,000 years. If you practice them consistently, you'll stop wasting your time and begin building an unshakable mind. Let's begin with the first rule.